Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q1 FY23 Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited earnings conference call hosted by DAM Capital Advisors Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Nitin Agarwal from DAM Capital Advisors Limited. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Vishal. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Gujarat Fluorochemicals Q1 FY23 post-results earnings call hosted by DAM Capital Advisors Limited. I thank the Gujarat Fluoro management for giving us the opportunity for hosting the call. I'll just announce the name of the Gujarat Fluorochemical management team and we'll hand over the call for them to make the opening comments from there on. Representing the Gujarat Fluoro management on the call today, we have Mr. Vivek Jain, Managing Director, Dr. Bir Kapoor, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. VK Soni, Head Projects and New Initiatives, Mr. Manoj Agarwal, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Vibhu Agarwal, Head Investor Relations. I hand over the call now to the Gujarat Fluorochemical team to take it forward from here. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Nitin. On behalf of Fluorochemicals Limited, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We are happy to inform that the Board of Directors of Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited has its board meeting approved the financial results of the company for Q1 FY23. The financial results as well as the earning presentations are uploaded on the website of the stock exchanges as well as the website of the company. I will take you through this presentation initially, then we can open the call for any questions that you all might have. Starting with the financial highlights at the consolidated level for the quarter ended 30th June 2022. Consolidated revenue for the Q1 FY23 was at 1,334 crores, up by 46% on year-on-year basis. Consolidated EBITDA for Q1 FY23 was at 459 crores, up by 80% on year-on-year basis. The EBITDA margin for Q1 FY23 were at 34%, up 6 basis points from 28%. Consolidated PAT for Q1 FY23 was at 303 crores, up 101% on year-on-year basis. So this was the consolidated performance at the company level. Now we would like to take you through the detailed overview of the financial performance during the quarter for each business vertical. Caustic soda revenue for Q1 FY23 stood at 189 crores as compared to 88 crores in Q1 FY22, up 115%. The chloromethanes revenue for Q1 FY23 stood at 102 crores as compared to 94 crores in Q1 FY22, up 9%. Refrigerant revenue for Q1 FY23 stood at 196 crores, which was 93 crores in Q1 FY22, thus having a growth of 111%. The Pvdf sales for Q1 FY23 were at 379 crores as compared to 320 crores in Q1 FY22, up 18%. The new fluoropolymer sales were at 331 crores, up 124% as compared to 148 crores in same quarter previous year, Q1 FY22. Specialty chemical sales was up 38% from 86 crores when compared to the same quarter of the previous year, Q1 FY22. So this was the segmental performance of all the business verticals. As regards to ROC and ROE, so ROC is significantly improved from 24.46% to 35.3%, and ROE is improved from 20.1% to 27.70% as compared to FY22. On the debt front, the company is virtually debt free and the net debt equity ratio stands at 0.29. On working capital cycle, our continuous efforts have resulted in further reduction of the working capital cycle from 120 days as on 31st March 2022 to 109 days as on 30th June 2022. As regards to our expansions and capex, we continue to expand and commercialize additional capacities for new fluoropolymers, and all our new projects and additional capacities, as announced earlier, are progressing as per schedule. So, with all these initiatives, will offer a sustained business growth with higher margins and will lead to further improvement in the financial performance as seen in the last few quarters and will continue in future also. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is a walkthrough of the presentation. I would like to open this up for any questions that you might have, and then we'll, as a management team, will try to answer all your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touch-tone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Sanjay Jain from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. First of all, congratulations on a very strong set of numbers. I got a few questions. First, on the PTFE side, PTFE revenue has declined 16% sequentially. Now, I know that you have mentioned in the presentation that there was a lower availability of TFE. Now, why was this issue with the TFE availability? I thought we were also adding another TFE plant, that is FY23. Now, what has caused the disruption in the TFE, if you can explain that?
Yeah. So, Sanjay, as you know, as we have mentioned that there was, we had started the 125 production also in the last quarter, and while yes, we had planned to start up the third TFE line also, but that is something which has now come up. So there was some amount of disruption on availability of TFE during that period, but from July onwards, that plant is also in full production now.
So our TFE3 is now up and running.
Sorry?
The TFE plant 3 is running now. It's operational.
Yes, it's running all right. So we are.
The second on the new fluoropolymer. No, let me first complete this R125. Now, what was the sale of R125 in terms of volume for the Q1, and for the full year, what is the volume we are looking at?
So we don't provide now the quantitative breakup of our segment revenues. We will not be able to be in position to provide you this information.
But will it be fair to assume that incremental revenue in the ref gas, whatever has come in, is largely the benefit of R125, or there is also normalization of R22, which was lower in last quarter?
The next question is from the line of Ketan Gandhi from Gandhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Sir, with regards to R142B, last presentation we have said we are selling from this quarter. So this refrigerant gas has any component of R142B, or we are using it for making Pvdf?
Well, by and large, we are using it for making Pvdf and FKM. From this quarter onwards, we will start the exports of 142B to some select customers.
So can you quantify? I mean, how many tons per month or?
No, at this point of time, Ketan, will be difficult for us to quantify, but we will be exporting 142B as per our business plan, and the excess availability over and above our own requirements of 142B, which, as you know, will keep on expanding because of our expanding production of FKM and PVDF.
So, sir, is it safe to assume that whatever capacity of PVDF we have, we will be consuming R142B for the captive use, and balance quantity we will be selling to the export markets?
That's right. That is right.
That's helpful, sir. And sir, regarding new energy business, regarding what is our, how we are geared up for LiPF6 and other products.
Yeah. So for LiPF6, the battery salt, we'll be completing the project by end of this year, and early next year in January, calendar year January, we'll be pushing out samples, and it takes about 3 months for validation. So we will start commercializing LiPF6 thereafter. So maybe in the first quarter next year.
Sir, we are planning for a domestic or export purpose or both purpose?
At the moment, as you know, domestic is a bit slow, so we'll start with export and followed with the sales in the domestic area.
Mr. Soni, are we planning
that we will get the plant commercialized, the quality approved for battery purposes, and after that, I think in the second half of 24, in the second half of calendar year 24, the demand from the domestic battery manufacturer will also come up, as well as demand from European battery manufacturers.
Fair enough, sir. Sir, with regards to LiFSI, are we planning to manufacture ourselves? Because last research report has been saying that if you add higher portion of the LiFSI in the electrolyte, it gives very good, quality, and it enhances the density of the energy.
Yes, you are right. Actually, at the moment, the battery chemistry is predominantly LiPF6, but there are moves towards adding LiFSI, and we are also gearing towards it by evaluating the technology, etc. And apart from that, there are other additives also, which also we are evaluating. As we mentioned last time, we have a very integrated approach for the entire electrolyte arena.
Sure, sir. Sir, in solar back panel PVDF, how much capacity we are looking at in terms of square meter or?
See, we are looking at metric tons because square meter depends upon the thickness, the microns. So if the micron is less, the square meter is more, and vice versa. So we will start with about 700 metric tons in a year.
Great. And sir, Adani is building a new in Anil, that is Adani New Industries Limited, 20 gigawatts of hybrid wind and solar. And if we look at it, then there is an ample opportunity for us to tie up with them or supplying with them regarding this solar back panel PVDF. And even they are looking at the membrane, that means production of using the electrolyte with either alkaline method or the PEM model. So what is your view on that, sir?
So actually we have these two projects in New Age. One is lithium salt, which we discussed. The second is the PEM, the proton exchange membrane, which goes predominantly in the fuel cells and also into the electrolyzers. So regarding your question of alkaline versus PEM, both will remain in force. And for, for example, for transport sector, the fuel cells, it is predominantly PEM, whereas for the non-fuel cell sector, for non-transport sector, like for making ammonia, etc., it will be mostly alkaline cell. But the disadvantage or the advantage of PEM is that it can start very rapidly compared to longer time required to start alkaline.
So, I mean, are we geared up to supply to Adani if need arises?
For film, yes, the Pvdf film, we are talking to them, and we have initiated the exercise, so we will certainly be supplying to them or whosoever else who needs it in the domestic market. So that is one thing is sure. And as far as PEM is concerned, the project is still about 1.5 years away. We are in the process of developing the technology, and we have the starting raw material for making those PEM. So there is a full-scale R&D effort which is going on also in conjunction with some of the CSIR labs, and we hope that in about a year's time we should be able to develop the membrane, and then thereafter we'll commercialize it. But the demand for the PEM membrane is really going to start from about 2 years from now, when electrolyzers and fuel cells, the production of those start increasing.
Great, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's very helpful, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management will be able to answer questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, please rejoin the queue. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj from Centrum Broking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and congrats on a very strong set of numbers. So just first question, given that the numbers have been phenomenal during the quarter, can we expect that this is the base level at which we will be able to operate incrementally, given that there are multiple capacity expansions which are happening and ongoing, and from a sequential basis on a quarter-to-quarter basis, our performance overall should be improving from Q2, Q3, Q4 onwards. Is that the base assumption that we can make? Thank you.
Well, you are asking too many questions about the future. Future, as you know, is not always very predictable. But yes, basically, since we are making additional investments on various fronts, we certainly expect the revenues and profitability to keep on improving.
Right, got it, sir. So second question is particularly on the spec chem. So what has changed during the quarter, and why there has been a serious increase in the performance on a sequential basis? Are there order backlogs which have been executed during the quarter, and do you expect that this particular kind of performance is sustainable, or there is any kind of seasonality which may affect incrementally?
different demanding applications. And this has also given us a certain amount of, sort of, I would say, pricing power, because we have been able to step in to meet the demand the shortage between demand and supply.
Sir, what I was trying to understand is how sustainable is this the supply shortage situation that we have seen? What's exactly happening on that front? Because we understand that a few months back we had a whole lot of shutdowns in China from the dual energy control norms. Is that what is emanating into supply shortage, and how long would you think that this can go on, given the fact that China is known to have the highest PTFE capacity? So what's true on that, sir?
Not really, because as I mentioned, we have spent time, energy, and effort to develop a huge number of grades which go into different applications. The Chinese are not present in most of the grades, at least in the Western markets. So we don't see their presence there at all, even despite whatever supply disruptions which might be happening, or production disruption might have been happening in China last 2-3 years. But even prior to that, we have not seen Chinese participating in those kind of applications. And the demand for those applications is only growing.
Understood, sir. So another question on the integrated approach that we spoke of a bit earlier. On the LiPF6 front, we understand we are making great progress on manufacturing the solute salt, that is LiPF6, and that there could be certain additives. But in your interactions with some of your customers, have you understood anything on this front, that they are looking for a more packaged solution of an entire electrolyte, which also involves the solution? How is the supply chain placed on that front? Are customers only looking for a particular chemical or the entire pack so that they can integrate their operations efficiently?
Well, yes, customers would prefer if you can supply them everything, but that is unlikely to happen. I don't think any company will be in a position to supply all the various ingredients which are going to be required. So we have picked and chosen those which we think will give us where we will have an advantage, and where the requirements are going to be sufficiently large for us to participate in that market. The second thing is that till now, most of this production is centered in China. And I think, as we all know, there is a very, very strong move for a China plus one strategy. So with all these battery plants which are slated to come up in US and Europe, they would certainly, and from interactions which we've had with customers now and which are ongoing, there is a very strong interest for those potential customers to enter into some kind of a supply arrangement with us. So we are seeing a very strong market developing. Once the initial our products are qualified fully, and the battery capacity starts coming up both in Europe, US, and India. It's probably going to happen almost at the same time from middle of calendar year 2024 onwards.
Understood, sir. Thanks for your elaborate clarification. That's it from my side. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Enam Investment. Please, I'm sorry. The next question is from the line of Krunal Shah from Enam Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello, sir. Congratulations on a very great set of numbers. Two questions. One is, what are the key applications that are driving the demand for FKM currently?
For
FKM.
So you see, as you might know, FKM is largely used in the auto industry, and there is, of course, a very strong industrial segment also. We are seeing demand growth in both those two segments and across geographies, whether it's US, Europe, China, even China, Japan, and of course in India. So there is a strong demand growth. And of course, the automobiles are also becoming more compact, and they have to be more environmental friendly in the sense that emissions have to be controlled stringently. This is also requiring a larger component of FKM in the cars. So as a result of all this, we are seeing a huge growth in demand. The other thing also which has happened, of course, is that we have developed again FKM. We have developed maybe about 20-25 grades over the last few years, which are suitable for just about every application again in FKM, and that is the reason why we have been able to now diversify our customer base across geographies. Another element, of course, which has come to our advantage is the fact that we are now vertically integrated and we have our own raw material, which is the starting raw material 142B, which again up to now largely has been available from China, where there are disruptions on supplies and availability, and all these three factors have combined to give us a very, very strong, healthy offtake from the consuming side.
Are we exporting to China also?
Yes, some grades we don't make.
Okay.
There are some grades which are required in batteries, and these are new grades which have been developed in order to make the batteries safer in use. So for the sealing requirements in those batteries, we have started now supplying certain high-end grades of FKM to China also. We are hoping that application will keep on growing because China has a huge battery production capability.
Great. And one last question. We said that in BTFE, the legacy suppliers are currently short on supply, or they are supplying lesser volumes. What are the key reasons for that, sir?
Well, the key reasons are they've not added capacity.
Okay.
Because they have not added capacity because for a couple of reasons. One is environment, because of very, very strict environment control. The costs, the capex which are required for putting up capacities is very, very large. Second, raw material availability is also a major issue there. So for these reasons, they've practically not increased any capacity in the last few years.
Got it. Great. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohan Gupta from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Good evening, and congratulations on such a solid set of numbers. A couple of questions. So first is on our TFE limitation to meet our CTFE requirement. So you mentioned that our CTFE revenues in the current quarter has been lower than the Q4. And it is primarily because of the limited availability of TFE, which I understand that TFE has been moved to the value-added TFE and other grades of TFE. Is that right, sir?
And also we have started production of R125, which in our technology is from the TFE route.
Okay, so we are utilizing this TFE to R125 and other grades of PTFE, I mean Pvdf and obviously FKM in all those.
No, FKM Pvdf doesn't require TFE. That is made from VDF, another starting monomer, which is made from 142B.
Current month onwards. So how do you see the realization across the other gases?
I don't think there is going to be any impact on realization even in the next 2 quarters.
Okay, so they will remain solid.
Yeah.
And sir, just third, I will, and after that I'll come back in queue. Sir, you have seen that the solid demand coming from SKM and higher acceptability of the product. You have already mentioned that by end of the year, we will be almost reaching up to more than 75% utilization in your across the chain of PTFE value added. Do we have any already plans in place to meet the growing requirement of this SKM and other PTFE fluoropolymers, sir?
See, we are continuously expanding capacities. We are adding new capacity, additional capacities in FKM, which will keep on coming, which will keep on getting into production in the next few quarters.
So in terms of capex plans, if you can just mention that, what you think that can be the investment or of entire fluoropolymer chain, including SKM and Pvdf, given the solid demand scenario right now, how much you think that there is the investment capability is there, and how much investment in this segment can absorb over next 12 months?
So actually, we have given those numbers in the last presentation, but maybe we'll just amplify on that further as we see it just now.
So the year ended March 22, our gross capital was about 4,300 crore, and every quarter this year we plan to add about 300 crore, so about 1150 crore in the whole year. In the last quarter up to June, we added 300 crore, and this 1200 crore, the breakup is about broad breakup is about 400 crore for new fluoropolymers, about 300 crore in specialty including battery chemicals, and in special chemicals like VDC, refrigerant gases, 300 crore, and wind energy and miscellaneous infrastructure about 150 crore. So this totals about 1150 crore.
Okay, that is for the current year FY23 you plan to invest, right?
Yes, please. And for next year, we have projected about 1,000 crore.
Right, that remains what it was earlier itself. So
it could possibly go up by another 200-250 crores.
Okay. And sir, on this batteries requirement from the EV side, you mentioned that definitely we are on we may expect some approvals coming in like LIPF from the customer by end of this year. If you can just mention that that which are the players with whom we are competing in the international market, in the global market, because you mentioned that the domestic demand from EV batteries remains still muted, and your focus is more on the export. So, sir, when we are giving the trial runs and giving the product sampling to the customers, so which are the customers suppliers we are competing with, and
we are not in a position to disclose the customers' names, but these will be customers in China, Korea, Japan, and some in Europe. We are also sending. We will also be sending sample quantities to the potential Indian battery manufacturers who will have the capability of testing and analyzing our quality and comparing it to what is their specified quality.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for answering.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tejas from Nippon India Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Sir, on the new age polymers, fluoropolymers, you mentioned that there's a price uptick. So if you can just tell us that on quarter, what will be the price range increase across these products?
No, that's very, very difficult to estimate. That will all depend upon the demand-supply situation, which is prevalent at that time.
Q1 over Q4.
So
Over Q1 over Q4, the price.
Q1 over Q4?
Previous quarter.
Yeah. It is in double-digit numbers, but I won't be able to give you an exact number at this point.
Okay, so sir, in this newest fluoropolymers, we mainly compete with European players, right? Unlike in PTFE where we compete with China. So if the cost increase in Europe for the energy is significant, we would continue to benefit on these higher realizations going ahead?
Well, we hope to. As I mentioned, it's more not from the point of view of cost push in Europe, but it is also from the point of view that availability of material is not there. And given the fact that we have now developed a large number of rakes for various applications within the FKM usage also, it's difficult for more supplies coming in to displace us. So from that point of view, we feel that we have a fairly good position in the market, and as a result of which, we hope that we will be able to sustain our prices.
Would be what, 6-7% of the market share on volume terms?
FKM?
Yeah.
Maybe by the time our new capacities come up, maybe by the end of the year, it could well be about 10% of the world market.
World market, okay. Sir, on the battery chemicals, how is the product approval cycle? I mean, can we, is it something which is very long, or with the plant commissioning, the sales can be made?
So in the chemicals, it could take 3 to 4 months after we start supplying commercial samples. And in polymers, it could well take about 6 to 8 months.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhruv Muchal from HDFC Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, our R125 capacity is around 5,000 tons. Is that right?
That's what I mentioned last time.
Okay. And so with this TFE expansion, line 3, we should be, is it fair to say the PTFE expansion plus the R125 can run at decent capacities then?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, there are some other polymers also which are made from TFE, like PFA and micropowders, which as and when the demand for that increases, we should be able to cater to that requirement too.
All right. So the TFE expansion handles our upcoming expansion in PTFE plus the R125 plus probably some of the other fluoropolymers.
Right.
Expansions. Sure, sir. And so this quarter, is it fair to assume for Pvdf and FKM, we were fairly integrated for our R142? I mean, the numbers reflect the R142 benefit, the backward integration benefit?
Yes, because we have stopped importing any further 142B.
So this is for the full. Got it. And so, lastly, can you give the capacity utilization for our PTFE for this quarter?
It's almost about 85%. 85%.
So I thought this quarter would be a bit lower because you had diverted some volumes to.
Yeah, so that's the reason why 85%. Otherwise, we have been running our PTFE capacity at close to about full capacity utilization, about 100%, 90-95%.
Sure, sir. And so one small request is you have a lot of capacity additions happening across portfolio. So if it is possible, if you can give in your presentation what are the capacities, when are they likely to come, it will help us in our understanding and also in our modeling purpose.
We'll try and do it, but we are circumspect of putting in too much information
on a broad level. For example, the PTFE category, the fluoropolymers category, overall number, how much is the quantum that is probably getting added? That will help us.
We just informed that in the new fluoropolymers, our capacities by the end of this financial year, all combined would be somewhere around 1,500 tons, which is up from about 700 tons, which was there till last year. Yeah. So we are adding almost about 800 tons in various new fluoropolymers. PTFE, of course, we are running, as I said, that we have been running at all close to 90-95%. We are using full capacity, and we are now we are working on debottlenecking our PTFE capacities by maybe about 20-25% in the next 6 months by the end of this financial year.
Sure, sir. That's very helpful, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Viral Shah from Enam Holdings. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity and congratulations on a very strong set of numbers. So my first question was just a clarification. You said that you have expanded your TFE capacity. So what would the capacity now be after this expansion?
I'm not going to disclose the capacity numbers, but yes, this capacity, I mean, there is a significant increase in TFE capacity.
Okay. So secondly, on the numbers for your subsidiary, and I derive these numbers from subtracting the consolidated numbers minus the standalone numbers. It seems that the subsidiary profitability has meaningfully improved during the quarter. So is there something to read into it, or what was the reason behind this?
Sir, we cannot hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, this is better.
Yeah. So there is nothing much to read into this because whenever you sell through subsidiaries, there is a huge transit gap. The goods when it ships from India and ultimately reaches there. So always there is some inventories which we keep for the demand for the serving to the customers there. So whenever there is a price increase or favorable price movement, that gets reflected into the sales from LLC and GmbH. But otherwise, they will have a normal trading margin which will be there.
Okay. Sir, my third question was on caustic. You mentioned in the presentation that there was some price uptick that you saw during the quarter compared to the quarter 4. So would it be possible to share what was your realization for caustic in Q1 and how are you looking at that number in the coming quarters?
Just one moment. So April, May, June, there has been a marginal increase in caustic soda prices.
So would that be around 50-55 rupees of realization or even higher?
So it's around, if you look at a consolidated ECU, it's about 50-51 rupees.
50. Okay. And okay, thanks. And finally, my last questions are on wind power, sir. Sir, you did guide that the 20 megawatt would likely be installed by Q2 end. Sir, is there any status on the remaining 100 megawatt which was to be installed?
As of now, the policy has not been announced by the state government in so far as captive wind is concerned. So we will have to wait till such time that that announcement is made and that the policy is defined. But as we have mentioned earlier, by the end of this year, to the extent that there is unfulfilled obligations, Inox Wind will return back the money to GFL.
And is there any timeline to when the money will be refunded?
By the end of this financial year.
Okay. And the same would hold true for corporate guarantees as well?
Largely, they will also slip off as we are raising funds also in Inox Wind. That will enable them to reduce substantially the external debt, which will then result into fall off of our corporate guarantee.
Sure. Thank you so much for the clarification. That was helpful.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anant, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity, sir, and congratulations on a great set of numbers. If I were to look at Gujarat Fluoro from like last 10 years, a business which used to be commodity has now transitioned
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, the voice went off.
Mr. Anand, can you please repeat your question?
I think Anand can join back. You can ask
Yes.
someone else.
Sir, I believe we have lost the line of Mr. Anand. In the meanwhile, we'll take the next participant, whose name is Vishal Baraya from Max Life Insurance. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thank you. So the battery chemicals plant, was this to commission end of this calendar year, somewhere near November 22? Was the earlier guidance, and now is it delayed by about 6-8 months?
No, it's not been delayed by 6-8 months. We never said that. Said that it's going to be commissioned by the end of this calendar year, maybe give or take 1 or 2 months, which can always happen in large chemical plants of this sort. So it's only that commercial production, it could then take about 5-6 months thereafter, because it takes a month or two for the plant, even after the plant is commissioned, for the stabilization, and then the process which has to be followed to get the samples approved from different customers. It could take about 3-4 months.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and what will be the primary products that these battery chemical plants will make? One will be LiPF6. Apart from that, what will be the other products?
Basically, as I said, it is an integrated complex. We start with the lithium fluoride, PF5, LiPF6, and also go on to make the electrolyte. So these are the products.
Okay. And so once you commission the plant, you will send the products to the customers where you would already be in touch with for a proper approval.
Yes, absolutely.
The commercial orders. Okay. Well, and the last question is, what will be the capacity of this plant, sir? How many tons?
Again, starting with the prototype capacity, and as the capacity of EV vehicles grow in India and abroad, we will be augmenting the capacity.
So to start off with, we'll have a capacity of almost about 2,000 tons, which will perhaps be utilized in the next 2 years. And after that, as the battery capacities come up in all the geographies, then we intend to substantially augment the capacity.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anant, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Congratulations on a great set of numbers, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. My question is that, if I were to look at a company in the last 10 years, we were basically into commodities at some point of time, with caustic and chloromethane contributing to the largest amount. Then we moved to PTFE, and going ahead, and then of course fluoropolymers and fluorospecialty chemicals came in. Going ahead in next 2 years or 3 years, what do you think would be key growth drivers? And how do you see a company's business in next 2-3 years in terms of products or?
The key growth drivers will both be chemicals and fluoropolymers. Chemicals, the various kind of chemicals which are going to be utilized in batteries, as we say, and this we see is going to be a huge growth driver for the company, and both in terms of revenues, in terms of capexes, in terms of profitability, and of course the polymers which go into batteries and into hydrogen fuel cells and electrolyzers. So those will be the drivers of future growth.
So, just taking just 2-3 years down, for example, like this year, looking at what our projections are for specialty fluoropolymers, I think specialty fluoropolymers by themselves can be a 2,000 crore business by the end of this year. So, do we see similar kind of opportunity in LiPF6 in say 2 years from now?
Yeah, certainly. I think it's not larger, certainly similar kind of opportunities. I think it will probably be larger over the next 5 years. It will develop into a fairly significant business.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing, sir. The second question that I have is that how has the sampling for Pvdf used in battery going on? Have you started supplying for that? And last question on Pvdf, what's the status of Pvdf backfilms for solar?
project?
As we mentioned last time, the grades were under development. Some grades have been developed, which have now been sent to potential customers, and which, for us to get full feedback on the approval could take maybe about 2, 3, 4 months. And in case there is any gap which still remains, that will then we will work towards filling that gap, and hopefully we should be able to then start commercial supplies of Pvdf for the battery grades. It could take a process of about 4 to 5 months before we start commercial supply. But as of now, we have received favorable response. Grades which are similar grades. We have been able to develop grades which are similar to what is available in the market, and we are very, very confident that in the next few months we should have our first few approval, and which will allow us to start commercial supply.
And on solar backfilms?
Sorry?
On solar backfilms.
Solar
So the PVDF film which goes to the solar battery, the project is under commissioning and should be commercialized in the first quarter next financial year.
Okay, great, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hansal Thakkar from Lalkar Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Congratulations on a great set of numbers. Just a follow-up on a previous question. So I'm assuming that, if the state policy is favorable to us, is there a possibility that we might absorb the entire wind energy capacity?
There is a possibility, but we'll have to watch and see, wait and see. Let's see in what form the policy comes, and if it is something which is definitely going to yield very strong results, then we will certainly look at maybe enhancing, adding more capacities over and above what we are currently adding. But I think we'll have to wait and see what is the final shape of the policy.
Okay. The reason why I was asking is, given the current state of the power and fuel costs, it may actually be advantageous, which is why I was inquiring.
That is very, very clear. That is very, very clear. There is a huge delta between renewable energy power and fossil fuel-based power. That is quite clear. But we have to see what form the policy actually comes.
Great, sir. Great, sir. Very helpful. Thank you and congratulations, sir.
Thank
you. Ladies and gentlemen, as that was the last question for today, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
We would like to thank you for your interest in the company. We look forward to your continued participation on this earnings update call. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you. On behalf of DAM Capital Advisors Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.